The time being 6:04 p.m. Call to order the Tilton Northfield Fire District public hearing on the warrant articles for the 2023 district meeting, which will be held on Monday, March 20th, 2023 at 7 p.m. at the Winnisquam Regional High School cafeteria, 435 West Main Street, Tilton. We're going to have our speed reader just quickly go through the.
You want to do them one at a time?
Yeah, well, we can start with number 3.
Yes.
We don't need to read number 1.
I'm just reading. Okay. All right. Article number 1, to choose fire district officers. To choose all necessary Tilton Northfield fire district officers for the ensuing year as presented on the ballot prepared for the same. Actual voting to be official ballot on Tuesday, March 14th, 2023 at the annual town voting sessions in Tilton and Northfield at their respective polling places and times. Next one is Article number 2, accept reports of treasurer and commissioners. To accept the reports of the treasurers and the fire commissioners and pass any vote relating thereto. Article 3, this one will be a little bit of discussion. To add to the land and building fund. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the land and building capital reserve fund previously established, and to make the board of fire commissioners agents to the fund. This article is recommended by the board of commissioners and is not recommended by the budget committee. Majority vote is required. Do you want to take comments on this or as we go, or?
Sure. Any questions on Article 3? We did have to add that verbiage of making the Board of Fire Commissioners agents to the fund, as strongly suggested by DRA.
Okay, we'll move on to Article 4. Fire Prevention Expendable Trust Fund. To see if the fire district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $9,627 for the purpose of adding to the existing Fire Prevention Expendable Trust Fund, with said funds to be withdrawn from the unassigned fund balance. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote is required. Article 5, Fire Prevention Budget. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $2,302 for the purpose of purchasing materials, tools, and equipment related to the public education, code enforcement, training, etc., with said funds to be withdrawn from the Fire Prevention Expendable Trust Fund. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote required.
Any questions? Number 6.
Article 6, Health Insurance Deductible Expendable Trust Fund. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,811 for the purpose of adding to the existing Health Insurance Deductible Expendable Trust Fund, with said funds to be withdrawn from the unassigned fund balance. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote required. It's going to be a quick meeting too. Article 7, add to the dry hydrant cistern expendable trust fund. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100,000 to be added to the dry hydrant cistern expendable trust fund previously established. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is not recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote required.
Oh.
Just a quick question, Tim Sadler. Is there a balance in that account that I can find in this document? Or can you tell me what the balance is?
There's one,
Just under because
just under $100,000 because they expended some of it for cistern this year.
We have fully
For
expended
dry hydrant.
for the dry hydrant. We still have the hydrant, the cistern on, or hopefully on,
Yeah, that
it's
was,
escaping me right now.
Mr. Heights?
Vista, thank you.
to go across the road.
Yeah, there'll be expenditure from that. I don't know the numbers on that one, but that will happen.
The dry hydrant was installed.
The dry hydrant was installed in Silver Lane, and I know we just have a lead on 2 more now. So
I brought up that information too.
I guess in and if it's not in this document, then what's the balance in the land and building fund?
I want to say it was in the fours,
And the land and building fund, it's over 600,
oh, six.
a little over 6.
Mr. Year.
Thank you.
You said you were trying to pull up the,
Yes. I'll be able to get the information on both of those.
all right. You want to move to the next one and come back to it? Would that work for you? And we can come back with questions if you have it.
That works.
All right, so we're going to Article 8, and then we'll come back to questions on Article 7. All right. Article 8, establish a contingency fund. To see if the district will vote to establish a contingency fund per RSA 31:98-A and raise and appropriate $28,180 to put in the fund. The sum to come from the unassigned fund balance. Any portion left in the fund at the end of the year will lapse to the general fund. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote required.
Moving on, number 9.
Article 9, amend apparatus and equipment replacement fund. All right, this is the long one. To see if the district will vote to amend pursuant to the provisions of RSA 31:95-C adopted March 7, 2005, to restrict the revenues from the ambulance billings expenditures for the purpose of apparatus and equipment replacement Hold on.
Just get the ambulance billing.
Okay, that's something. To restrict the revenues from the ambulance billings to expenditures for the purpose of apparatus and equipment replacement, ambulance billing services, advanced medical training, vehicle and equipment maintenance, repairs and service and testing. Such revenues and expenditures shall be accounted for in a special fund to be known as the Apparatus and Equipment Replacement Fund. This fund would be separate from the general fund. Any surplus in said fund shall not be deemed part of the general fund accumulated surplus. Any surplus in said fund shall not be deemed part of the general fund accumulated surplus and shall be expended only after a vote by the fire district at a district meeting to appropriate a specific amount from said fund for a specific purpose related to the purpose of the fund or source of revenues. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. 2/3 majority ballot vote required. That was painful.
No kidding.
Any questions on that one? Okay.
My understanding is this will allow the district to pay for additional expenses that they couldn't currently out of this fund. So I guess the question is, if this was in place next year, what would the dollar amount be of those items?
It's general. I don't have an exact number, but it's the vehicle maintenance line, which is typically somewhere around $50,000 a year. Kathy could probably, it's usually it's around 50, a little higher some years, a little lower some years. Might be higher than that now, but it's.
And a little bit of it is the testing of specialized equipment and recertification of the different, rescue equipment, ladders and things like that. That's a recurring, not necessarily a thorn on the side of the operating budget. To be able to get it into the equipment fund creates a little bit of relief because they're looking ahead to taking on this payroll that is free, the Safer Grant employees. That payroll is going to hit after year 3, so they're looking for some relief in the operating budget. And this was a kind of a recurring.
This was a recommendation by we had a Safer Committee, and this was one of the recommendations by the Safer Committee. We had to have the vote this year to be available for the funds to pay for the Safer people next year.
And the actual dollar amount, I believe, is $75,000. So it's $25,000 that we have in there that the chief, when he makes his budget, he takes everything, oil changes, tires, preventive maintenance that he knows has to happen and how much it's going to cost. So he puts that in the budget, and then there's like I think it's $50,000 that you know, in case a pump blows or something like that, then they take it out of that line and move it down to whatever the repair is on that equipment, on that piece of equipment.
For the unforeseen.
Yeah, the unforeseen.
And there always is, we typically over on that line.
Any other questions?
But I would say that when we asked the chief during the budget workshops, it did not impact the capital plan for as far as the trucks or the ongoing.
No,
It wasn't gonna sink the ship as to how the money's being currently spent, so that was our concern, is we didn't wanna, like, push an ambulance out a year or something like that.
40,302.
41,795. 795. So,
And there's anything else?
that was one of the things, yes.
6,000, so we're at 68,097.
Thank you.
And that's for the current warrant article we were talking about,
That is correct.
Okay.
That is for what is being requested in this year's budget.
okay.
Now, if I can, the land and building fund,
Okay.
that has, at the end of the year, it had $662,996 in it.
One more time, please.
662,996.81. And that was at the end of December 31st, 22. And then you had also asked about the dry hydrant cistern, and that's $387.66, and that was at December 31st as well.
But we have some of those funds encumbered, I believe.
No,
No, okay, we don't.
No, because it's still in discussion. They had done they were going to do the agreement across the street, and now it's going across the street, and the
I
system.
think we're still on that one, we're waiting to hear,
Yes.
he was talking with Leonard and his wife. It
Right.
sounded like he wanted to do it.
Yep. So, any other questions on that, Tim? Or
No,
did that
good.
cover it for you? Okay, it did. Anyone else? Okay. All right, so that puts us down to Article 10. Article 10, apparatus and equipment replacement fund budget. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate $188,719 for the purpose of purchasing fire rescue EMS equipment and ambulance charges. With said funds be withdrawn from the apparatus and equipment replacement special revenue fund established under RSA 31:95-C, adopted March 7, 2005. Funds appropriated from this fund do not affect the tax rate. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote required. Article 11, operating budget. To see if the district will vote to raise and appropriate the Budget Committee recommended sum of $3,012,659 for general municipal operations. This article does not include appropriations contained in special or individual articles addressed separately. This article is recommended by the Board of Commissioners and is recommended by the Budget Committee. Majority vote required. Article 12, transact any other businesses. To transact any other businesses that may legally come before the meeting.
That's it.
Any other questions or anything?
Any other questions?
We weren't as quick as them, though.
No, we weren't as quick as that. But,
Yeah, beat us.
the time being 6:18, I will close the public hearing on the warrant articles.
Wow.
That's it. All right. We have to make a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, for me.
Huh?
Not for me.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it. I'll
Second it.
the
All
motion.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned at 6:15. 6:18.